Hey, how you doing?
Good. Hey, what do you have in there?
Nothing to see here. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, by the way, we have questions today.
All right, well, let's get started.
If you had to sum up racing in one word, what would that be?
For me, I would say discipline, because that's what I have to remind myself to be all the time in a race car.
And what's the biggest misconception about racers?
I think people think that racers are all adrenaline junkies. I think it's the exact opposite. I think racers are really great at not having their adrenaline come to the surface so that they can apply technique instead of natural instinct. I don't know, but either way, let's check out the house.
What made you fall in love with cars in the first place?
You know, honestly, my dad bought a car when I was 3 years old. It was a 912E Porsche, 1976. I have the car still today. I've loved cars ever since.
If you ever had to stop racing, what would you miss the most?
If I stopped racing now, I would really miss the competition.
Who designed your house?
This house is designed by the multi-talented Chrissy Beavis. Chrissy's a very talented co-driver, but she's also a very talented architect.
What's the best memory you made in this house?
So I'd say one of the best was a joint birthday party between my daughter and I, and we have this place absolutely packed.
Which room is your favorite?
There's a little movie room that's probably my favorite. I love just blacking it out in there. It's like sensory deprivation. You turn out all the light and then just zone into a movie.
What's the story behind your coffee mug collection?
You know, for 10 years I was going to Europe 15 times a summer to race. I was in Portugal for the weekend and I didn't get anything. You're in the airport, you pick up a mug. Every one of these is a great memory from some race somewhere.
How do you like your coffee?
My coffee. Obviously I drink Rockstar. And a donut? Who doesn't like donuts? Come on.
You race, you fly, do you sail as well?
I used to race Hobie cats with my dad, which is like a small catamaran, but I don't have a sailboat. I've got a motorboat, and we go out and we try to experience what's around here. You know, there's whales and dolphins literally just right there. It is absolutely an amazing thing about living in California is going out into the ocean.
What does a day in the life of Tanner Foust look like?
If I'm out working somewhere, driving, it's just whatever the location, whatever the car, I just try to make sure I'm warmed up and fit enough to do my best.
And what's your workout routine like?
Here I do have a small gym set up in the house, and I don't enjoy running, I'll be honest, but I do it. And there's about a 3-mile loop to the pier and back, but I feel like I got to work out at the end of the day.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
It was obviously hats on indoors. Just kidding. My biggest pet peeve is people who park in the left lane.
How do you relax?
Got this little dark room that I love to watch movies. I love the inspirational stories in movies. I love seeing the way that how Hollywood just works. So I'm a movie guy.
What is the one thing about yourself most people don't know?
That I am a biology major from University of Colorado. I was studying to be a doctor.
What's your favorite thing in the world other than cars?
I do love architecture, and I got a pilot's license. General aviation is something I've fallen in love with, where you can just take yourself, especially in this country, it's probably the last generation. You might be the last generation that has this amazing freedom just to fly yourself anywhere you want.
What do you love most about living in Southern California?
Well, I think a lot of people get asked what they like about Southern California, and the common answer is one of the best answers, which is the weather. I mean, don't get me wrong. The people are great in California, and I love having the mountains right next to the ocean, but it is all about the weather.
How did your parents react when you told them you wanted to be a race car driver?
First, I think they thought I was joking. Second, they kind of hated the idea because it's dangerous and expensive, and they thought I'd be hurting myself and asking for money. But after 5 years, when I didn't do either of those things, they were all in support of it, and so I was chasing my dream. So like any parent would, they loved it.
How long have you been racing?
I've been racing since 1997, so almost 25 years.
What's your most prized racing memorabilia?
Prized racing, I don't just have one. I do have a room though. It's a pretty cool room. Check it out.
What does performance mean to you?
Performance to me means a car does exactly what you want it to do. Even if it's performing being comfortable, landing a big jump, or winning a race, it does everything you need when you need it.
Is there a moment that made your career?
Doing X Games and winning X Games in 2007 really boosted my career because that was the biggest stage I had ever been on. That got me a lot of help raising money to race in the future.
What is the difference between being a stunt driver and a race car driver in terms of skills?
Stunt driving and race driving, of course you're driving at the limit in both of them, but with racing you're always driving 100% of what the car can get you to beat the other guys. In stunt driving, you're really kind of matching the attitude of the actor, the scene. You're giving the director what they want.
You hold multiple world records, so what's next?
I don't really have plans for another world record, but if I am lucky enough to get involved in a big project, hopefully something that we get out of it is another world record.
Favorite track in the US?
Is Sonoma Raceway. It's hardly got a straightaway, you're busy all the time, it's got great flowing turns, so I love any chance I can get to get on that beautiful track.
Beetle or Golf R?
I would say the Golf R, which we're in right now.
What distinguishes the newest Golf R model from the previous years?
There is a huge amount going on with the 8th generation compared to the Mark 7 or Mark 7.5 Golf R. Torque vectoring is absolutely huge and defines a lot of the handling characteristics, but the whole interior, these giant screens, the whole driver interaction, the customization of your driving experience from comfort to full drift is such a big difference that you can completely customize the car's driving attitude just the way that you want it. Good to go.
In one word, what does it feel like to drive the new Golf R?
One word, really? One word is hard. I mean, I'd say awesome, but that would be lame mainly because I'm Californian and everybody expects you to say awesome. I'd say exhilarating, but I'm not 60 years old. So if it's one word, it might be two, but if it's one word, I'm gonna say badass.
What made you want to be a VW ambassador?
The first car I ever drove was a Volkswagen bus that my mom had, and she'd let me drive part of the way to school when I lived in Scotland. So I've always been a fan of Volkswagen, and Volkswagen Motorsport, when they put their heart to something, is absolutely dominant. So once I heard that Volkswagen Motorsport was getting involved with rallycross, which was a sport I was in, I had to find a ride.
Favorite new features?
Torque vectoring is absolutely incredible. And what that is it can send a power that goes to the rear of the car to either the left or right side. So much so that if you want to, you can put it into drift mode and turn the steering wheel and the car will go into a drift. It's pretty awesome. And so this is it, the Mark 8 Golf R. If you want to see the Golf 8 R really do its stuff, watch the next video.
Volkswagen.